throwing a little bit of clay. It's super hard that a student had, and I traded them. It is pretty firm. We'll see. Right now I'm in the studio by myself. It's a Tuesday, March 17th. It's the first day of the shelter in place. I don't think a lot of people get what that means. I'm just cleaning up and might as well doing something in here. I have the doors locked in here myself, so I'm quarantined in here. And people want to come by, but they don't get it. That doesn't mean it, because what if I have it? I'm going to give it to you. So, or if you got it, I don't want it. It wasn't that long ago, just a few days ago, where it was 50 people, no more gatherings of 50 people. Then it was 10 people. And then all on the same day, it turned to stay at home, no gatherings. So that means it's crazy. People still running around. But people don't get it. So I plan to be here for a little while, at least on the planet. So I don't want to die unnecessarily if I don't have to. So, and I don't want somebody's ignorance to kill me. So that may sound extreme and paranoid, but I heard a saying the other day is you could never be too cautious, because if you're not cautious enough, then it's too late by then. So but when the county health department says close, and I'm not a vital city thing, I mean, it's interesting. I noticed on the video camera people were coming in this morning, trying to come in early and pick up stuff, which they really shouldn't do, because it's actually a misdemeanor. So I don't know how much they're going to enforce that, but all it takes is somebody to get sick from this place and have the Contra Costa Health Department all over me. So people don't think about it that way. We're supposed to be closed, and if I'm letting people run around in here, that's not very responsible. So the sad thing is, people pay for classes and memberships, so it's an interesting dynamic right now. And everybody keeps saying, well, the government's supposed to help out small businesses. Well, I want to be optimistic, but I'll believe it when I have the money in my bank account. Or just pay my landlord rent, or just pay our PG&E. Or if PG&E just waived, a month and a half worth of energy costs, that would be great. But they won't do that. We'll see. But I just want to stay away from people as much as I can. In the meantime, I just finally get some break to film some content for my YouTube channel. Maybe film some stuff later, because I do want to stream, lessons, or have some kind of subscription online where if you can't get to us or you live somewhere else, you can at least experience our instruction and subscribe. So I just have to figure out how many videos a month would be worth it in the price, so if there's 1 a week, 2 a week, I don't know if I can squeeze 3 in, or 2, I don't know. I just have to. So if you do 8 in 1 month, you know, charge $19.99 a month. I don't know, or $9.99 a month. I don't know. Whatever you think would be a good price. I'm just making a cylinder. I haven't thrown it in a long time. I'm just going for an even-walled cylinder, just to get stuff off the bottom, and then I'll shape it. And it's pretty thin down here. You see it moved a little. So I'm using this just to smooth the outside. I'm not. People always say, "Oh, just put a straight edge on it to straighten the cylinder," but it may look like it's straightening it, you know, maybe a little tiny bit, but I'm just getting off that thing I just pulled off of there. But it's really to smooth the outside so I don't have those throwing lines. If you think you're gonna even the cylinder out by just putting a straight edge on the outside, what if the inside's off? Then you're not straightening it. Now this little move right here, it's a little wide. I know I just smoothed it and straightened it, but now I want to go back to this. Let's see, now I just balloon it out as much as I can. It's kind of like a practice shape. Now I'm gonna push it from here to here, and that's it. I'm not gonna start all at the bottom. If you start all the way at the bottom, you'll stretch it out and the weight of it will just sink down. On smaller pieces you might be able to get away with it, but as you go up in the poundage of clay, the weight of itself just wants to sink down. As soon as you push the wall out, and it's getting thinner, and then it can't support the rest of the pot. So now I'm gonna need a flexible hand to shape it. Oh. Sorry. Hopefully it didn't get thrown off. Still okay. So the trick is on this one is to keep enough up here and keep the rim a little thicker and stable. So while I'm shaping all this, this gives a little strength. But if my hand if it's too narrow, then I can't get back in there. Even as I'm throwing now, I feel like I need to cough, or I feel like I'm very aware of all my body, like my sinuses and my breathing and my lungs and everything. I just like kind of slightly paranoid, like, you know, am I displaying the symptoms? So it's just a trip, you know, and I know people want to just run around and not think about it, but you really can't be around people. That's how it spread. That's how we should have locked down, you know, 3 months ago, or at least start screening people. And, you know, but they don't even have a test for that yet. You can't even screen people. You know, I think when you take somebody's temperature, it's pretty much too late by then. If they have a fever, you know, you're kind of screwed. see. So round we can make this. It's getting really thin. Before I push the bottom out too much, I want to narrow it in a little bit in a sec. It's pretty much as thin as that's going to get. How much clay is it? I don't know. It's like probably 3 pounds. Call it just in a tiny bit. No, there's that little wobbling just because I'm messing around with the rim up here, but I'm not going to stress about that too much. Now down here, if I take something with a straight edge and really push that in, or just make another pull. And also, you know, this clay's super firm, so that helps. And it helps to get it over with, like not mess around with it too much, you know, like spend so much time centering it, you know. And so I see a lot of people, they want to throw big, but their skill level isn't there. They can kind of scratch together a form and open it up and start messing with it, and they let it sit on the wheel. And I do that sometimes. It's not like I'm fun if I do that, but you got to get better at throwing a smaller amount before you jump up and clay. You know, if you know, you're wasting clay because you got to trim all this clay off. This I'm going to make so I don't have to trim it. If I do trim it, it'll be right. I'll do it right now. I'll show you a tiny bit. Just take a trimming tool. When I first saw somebody do this, I was like, what? You could do that? You know, I always thought trimming was like upside down. But I don't want to, you know, I want to utilize all the clay into the pot. I don't want to waste anything. And then something like this, you know, especially in a public space, you may or may not get back to it to trim it. So if you could throw it without trimming, you're better off, because then you could just let it dry. And then this area in here is a little flat, so trick I learned from the late Bob Hodgson. I think he just passed away this 2019 August. What I know from throwing is mostly from him. It's a good 90% of what I know. And firing kilns and making glazes. And we just taught at Dabba Valley College and just taught. And wasn't interested in conquering the clay world. They just want to teach people ceramics. I just can't believe he lasted as long as he did. He smoked a shit ton of menthol cigarettes. What was that? It's not spinning, you don't even notice. But it's a tiny bit off. Stabilize this a tiny bit. There's probably all sorts of stuff. People are just going, what the is he doing? Like, why do you do that? I don't do that. I mean, I think there's definitely fundamental stuff to get to someplace. And then after that, it's just, I think it's whatever you've settled into. But I definitely think people like to say there's a no right or wrong way to throw it. But I think there's ways that are efficient and there's ways that just aren't efficient. And a lot of people that are, maybe teaching and throwing, I mean, most of them may be able to tell you what they're doing and how to, what's going on and really deconstruct the process. But, a lot of people can't do that. They just don't do it. I don't know why. I was at a workshop taking with somebody and I asked them, what would you tell a beginner, what would the steps be for a beginner to center clay? And he didn't really have an answer, so what made me realize, it's not that he doesn't know, he's not a good teacher, he just doesn't teach a lot of beginners and doesn't think about breaking it down. He just got throwing and figured things out for himself and just did it and doesn't really know how he's doing it. He's just doing it, just all by feel. And I think that's how a lot of people throw or teach, for that matter. Because I always say, if you look at people that are excellent potters, that everybody's kind of doing the similar thing. If there was, when people go, oh, there's a lot of good ways to throw, well, you see a lot of different ways to throw, but everybody's pretty much on the same variation, that are, decent, whether it's somebody who's not well known on the, in the ceramic circles, or some, but is really good in their area, or somebody who's world renowned, and everybody's throwing kind of the same way. So, I think we'll stop with that. That's pretty basic. Maybe we'll get like a something like that. All right, stay safe, wash your hands, keep a 6 foot distance away from people, no congregating in groups, I'm sorry people can't come in here, and we have to close for at least 3 weeks. So hope everybody can hang in there. All right, bye. Thanks.